Well, hey, y'all, I've got a couple guests with me. I've got my good friend, Doug Greenwood, and we've got Russell Rainey on the phone from Africa who just happened to call us while we were recording it. So he was apparently meant to be on this video. I got to tell you, as I was looking at my responsibilities for commenting on the journal, I was kind of dreading this one because, I mean, really, 2 verses about goodbye? That's what we're going to talk about. So as I kept reflecting on this letter, and then I was reading these 2 verses, it just struck me over and over again that Epaphras and Mark and Aristarchus and Demas and Luke, these guys are mentioned several times in Scripture. And they were such a tight group of people. Can you imagine? I mean, Epaphras, he planted the church in Colossae, the one, in fact, that Philemon he was having a church meeting in his home there. And so Philemon, he knew Epaphras, and Epaphras was apparently in Rome with Paul, and it looks like he was in prison, and we don't know what that's about, nor do we know what happened to him. But Mark, John Mark, the Gospel of Mark's recorded through him, and then also he had that disagreement, and Mark went off with Barnabas, and Paul was so mad at him that he actually went off in another direction. And Aristarchus and Gaius and Acts, it says they were in Ephesus, and this big riot broke out, and they grabbed these guys and they were running them to the meeting area there, and they're chanting for hours. It said they were chanting, great is Artemis, great is Artemis. Can you imagine? They're probably roughed up and scared out of their wits, but they survived that. And then Demas was with Paul and is mentioned, I believe, in Colossians also. But then Demas in 2 Timothy, it says, Paul just mentions him, and he said, and Demas left me. He cared more for the things of this world. So again, we don't know what that's about, but can you imagine how bad it hurt? Because these were guys that were out there doing battle against forces of evil for the cause of Christ together. And can you imagine how tight they were? And so I wanted to invite Doug, my friend Doug, who he and I have been in community group for years together. We actually knew each other in high school when we were up to no good. But we've been teaching in prison for how long?
5 years.
5 years. And trying to figure that out because we didn't know anything about it when
No
we got
game.
started. We got no game. Been in some scary situations. We've been in some absolutely tragic situations, or folks that we tried to help had tragic results. And we've seen God do some really great things. And we've got Russell on the phone, and Russell and Doug have known each other since childhood.
40 years.
40 years.
Since I was born.
Yeah, wow. And I've known Russell for about 4 years now and has become a dear friend to me. And so what I wanted to talk about today a little bit and get these guys to comment on was, when a group gets together, is there anything like when a group of guys or gals get together for the cause of Christ, actually try to do something? We're not talking about sitting around and lighting candles and drinking chamomile and trying to feel good about each other, although I hear there are some people that actually enjoy, just holding hands and singing Kumbaya, but actually trying to make a difference. And I've not found anything like it. I mean, it sure has brought us closer together.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just those bright and early mornings in prison, leading Bible studies and teaching men's fraternity. Some of the stories or battles, I should say, we've been in are just amazing. Just to see God show up time after time, it's something else.
And speaking of fighting battles, it was kind of our group over the past year that's really kind of been praying with Cheryl and Russell and wanted to help get them launched well. But Russell's joining us again just by coincidence or providence. He's joining us from Msanzi, Africa. And what kind of battles are going on there, bud?
Well, I don't think the battles are any different. I mean, we're trying to bring the light of Christ into a dark world. The situations are different. Some of the players are different. This is a pretty exotic place over here for someone raised in America. But there's no doubt, there's no way Cheryl and I'd be here if it wasn't for those that we feel like we're in the battle with. That every moment of every day, we know it gets hard, but we have you to depend on, even that far away. We had you to depend on when we were trying to get here, and we know you'll be here in the future. And that gives us an encouragement. We want to share those battles with you, but it also just gives us a strength in that.
We're losing. Internet service has been.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got
you.
you.
You're back. Okay. Well, the
so it's about it's about battles. I mean, battles are what going to bond relationships. It's easy to say you're a friend of someone when everything's going well, but when you're getting shot at is when you're going to find out who your real friends are.
Well, that's true, isn't it? So what do you think? I mean, Aristarchus, in that riot, what do you think they talked about around the campfire at night? I mean, these guys are sitting there. What do you think they talked about?
Not about singing songs and holding hands, that's for sure. I know, in some of our adventures we've been on, we've been in that situation around campfires, with our sons and so forth, and just reliving those times that we were in battle together. About the adventures, about seeing God show up time and time again, and even being in battles today, wondering, hey, is he going to show up again? Remember that time he got us out of that pickle? Is he going to be there again? And time again, he shows up, and it's neat to share those adventures and to know that when I am in battle, that I've got one of these guys with me, and that's reassuring for me.
Yeah, it is. C.S. Lewis, when he had a pretty tight group of folks, and for those that don't know C.S. Lewis, just Google him and definitely read Mere Christianity. But he had this tight group of folks, and when one of them died at the funeral, or maybe it was right after, C.S. Lewis wrote about his friend and how really it was a death for the group, because their friend brought out in them something that no longer was going to exist, the way that Russell and Doug react. I will never, if one of y'all were gone from the group, I would never get to experience a side of y'all, or you would never bring out a side of me that if y'all weren't there, and including our other guys that are in this group.
Absolutely.
And so I guess just a little insight. We're talking way too long for 2 verses, but that makes me think, what were the emotions that Paul was going through when he wrote in 2 Timothy about Demas? Demas has deserted me, and how that must have hurt, because he was such a close friend, and they had been in these battles together. So I guess the question this morning for those that are watching are, do you have a close group of girls or guys who you have actually have gone out and for the cause of Christ? Are you seeking to make a difference? And if so, just comment about that. What did you find about it? Is that a good experience? Did your relationship grow deeper? And for those that don't and want to, comment here too. And if there's anyone watching, maybe we can jump in there and help you get in the game.